offered a substantial severance package in exchange for silence and a commitment to never return. That's not reconciliation, that's risk management, and Mr. Nico will be declining that offer.
Good evening, thanks for joining us tonight. Those close to embattled Green Bay East football coach Nico Sila are saying he will not resign from his role as he faces possible termination.
Administrators told Sila he had until Thursday to choose whether he wanted to step away or place his job in the hands of the school board, who now will decide on the district's recommendation of termination. In a First Alert update, Drew Bass heard from Sila's closest supporters and students calling for him to be reinstated.
The message is clear from Sila's supporters. Nico is not going to back down. He is going to continue to fight for his role at East High School.
I'm done entertaining the district's reindeer games and fear-mongering tactics.
Tonight, Nico Sila's wife, Chelsea, and community advocate Stephanie Ortiz shared their timeline of the investigation and spoke to disprove the district's allegations against Sila, both calling the board's upcoming decision a turning point.
The community is absolutely catching on, and those who have known have been bullied to be complacent or silenced.
Nico's words didn't create division. They exposed an existing fracture the district itself has yet to repair.
They laid out several allegations made during their meetings with district administrators, most revolving around incorrect attendance processes, giving kids rides home from school, and Sila sending messages to students after instructed not to when he was placed on leave. They claim at one of their meetings with the district, their legal counsel said most of the allegations were based on hearsay. Nico Sila was not there to provide the update himself, following the rules of his ongoing administrative leave. Last Thursday, the district said Sila and his representatives were sharing an incomplete account of the allegations against him. Ortiz says this statement made them look dishonest.
That is another reason why we wanted to hold today's space, to really start from the beginning and go to the end about all of the information that we have available to us regarding the allegations.
Other students and community members continuing to speak passionately to Sila's impact.
I just feel like without Nico there, it's not a family. Like, I feel like when he was there, like, everybody was connected.
That coach helped my son graduate. If it wasn't for him, my son wasn't going to school. He stepped up and had him go to school.
Absolutely.
He helped him graduate.
Absolutely.
What they doing is proud to these students.
Ortiz and Chelsea Sila did not disclose the amount Nico was offered in severance, but called the number, quote, substantial. Nonetheless, they said giving up was never an option. I reached out to the Green Bay Area School District for a response to Sila's decision to decline their offer. They said they would not provide any comment. Reporting in Green Bay, Drew Best, Action 2 News.